Welcome back to the Ferris Sports Update, joined now by Brian Rock with Ferris State Football. And Coach Rock, thanks for joining me today. And I know it's kind of a little bit of a weird time getting into spring ball after not having a fall season, but I got to imagine for you it's real exciting just to be back out on the turf.
Yeah, to be honest with you, that's it's just been a blast to be able to be a team again and get out onto the practice field and get some things done and been great energy, and we've had quite a variety of weather conditions over the course of the last few weeks, which have provided some challenges, but it's been awesome.
But no different than a normal football season. That's kind of the type of weather conditions you have to deal with during a normal football season.
No doubt, no doubt. We live in Michigan, and we get a little bit of everything.
As you take a look here at spring ball, obviously you do have a lot of important pieces back to this roster. We've talked to Coach Anise about the 5-6 year seniors on the offensive line. I mean, you've got a lot of guys back. What has this spring ball been like, considering that it's different when you didn't have a season preceding?
Well, I think, as players, they're all kind of itching to get back on the field and get that taste of football back in their mouth a little bit. But you kind of got to, it also, as coaches, it gives us an opportunity to kind of evaluate and progress the young players that, will hopefully make a good team even better over the course of the next season. But it's been a long year for all of us, physically, emotionally, all those kinds of things. And the opportunity, we kind of want to be able to pick up right where we left off and those kinds of things. We've got some things that we want to accomplish, and we got to take this spring opportunity to get better.
And there's nothing easy about coaching a football team, but considering what you guys have gone through to this point, one of the few sports that didn't get to have your traditional season, obviously COVID wiping that out, but how have you been able to keep your guys engaged? I know right now having spring ball probably helps a lot with keeping them engaged and focused on the task at hand, but how have you been able to keep them engaged really when there are lulls?
Well, that's created quite a challenge. There's no doubt about that. I think football teams are an interesting dynamic in that they enjoy being around each other, and with the COVID restrictions and regulations and those types of things, it kind of prevented us. We've become very very well versed in using Zoom and those types of things to keep our guys together. If I don't ever have to do another Zoom meeting, I'll probably be okay with that. But you do those kinds of things. You try to create ways that we can get together and do things out of doors, and try to create one-on-one and one-on-two meetings to try to keep players engaged. I think the life of a coach is based virtually on the developing relationships with players, and not having personal contact with your individual players and individual groups presents challenges, and you have to find creative ways to try to bring a team back together. And to be quite honest with you, having them out there on the field for the very first time a couple weeks ago as a full football unit in over a year, that was pretty fun.
And some of the other positives that have come with this is you have some guys that might not have been ready for the fall season, had it been played, some really important pieces to this team, and some different guys that this has allowed them to get healthy and get back to work. I know that's important to you, especially on the offensive side.
Yeah, I think you want to try to take advantage of the cards that you're dealt. And you're right. We've had some guys that have been able to get healthy. We've had some guys that hopefully will be able to progress along. We still have a lot of questions to answer, and some holes to fill. We think we have some candidates, and that's what we have to use this spring to do, is to try to get ourselves into a position where we give ourselves the best opportunity to be a really good football team come next fall.
On the offensive side of the football, and I'm not going to do what every other media member would do and ask you who your starting quarterback is today, but you've got some different pieces, guys that are going to slot into places that you had 5-year team guys like Travis Russell at the quarterback position, some receiver positions, and how are you feeling about some of those right now as spring ball progresses?
Well, I think that's been probably one of our biggest questions that we want to answer. Is we think we have some very good candidates at the quarterback position, at the at the wide receiver position, the slot position, those kinds of things. And we have some very good young talent that we're trying to bring along, and guys who the fans at around Ferris State University aren't necessarily familiar with quite yet, but we're trying to put them into some situations where they can not only develop their own confidence, but obtain the confidence of the team and become really productive members. But that's what spring's all about. That's what spring's all about, whether their COVID occurs or not. So we're really trying to pursue that. And I think we've made some progress, and we've still got about 3 weeks left to go, and hopefully we'll be able to continue making progress to have a few more answers.
I know the bar is always high with this program, and how is it maybe different knowing that there are going to be different guys stepping in? How do you maybe set the tone for guys that might be new to the program here, coming in for the first time working with this team?
Well, you're right. The bar is set very high, and I don't think we have to spend a whole lot of time. One of the reasons a lot of these young players chose to come to a place like Ferris State, or transfers to a place like Ferris State, or whatever their avenue of joining our football team was, they come because they want to be a part of a championship culture, and they come because they want to experience and put in what it takes to become or compete for championships. So we don't have to spend a whole lot of time talking about how high the bar is set. There's a level of expectation, and the veteran players usually do a pretty good job of explaining it to the younger players and getting that point across of, this is how we do things here. This is who we are. It's what we do. It's how we live. And that point gets across pretty good. And so I think we're in pretty good shape.
I know for all of us, going through what we went through in the last year was tough, and everybody handled it differently. But for you as a coach, how does it for the first time just to be back on the practice field? Take a moment to be a little selfish and tell us about that.
That's just, you coach because you love being around players. You coach because of those relationships. And the past year you haven't really had that opportunity to do, and you're spending all of your time on making sure that they're in the right place, and this, that, and the other thing, and to actually get to go out and work on football. That's fun. Football is a great game, and to be able to try to develop players and develop relationships and develop units is a great thing. And you don't realize how much you miss it until you don't have it, and which we didn't have it for another year. Our coaches, just like the players, are chomping at the bit to be out there together all over again. It's been a blast.
Well, Coach, thank you for joining me today, and good luck the rest of the way here in spring ball.
Thanks loads. Appreciate you having me.
When we come back, we'll catch up with Ferris State soccer head coach Greg Henson next on the Ferris Sports Update.